Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for our Saturday show, which is upon us here. We're going to be live for 2 straight hours. We are broadcasting again on TFR Live, which is broadcasting on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream, as well as YouTube and Twitch. So we're expanding the umbrella of the portal. It's a big umbrella. It's getting bigger all the time. So thanks for being here, as always. It's been a good day. I didn't really do a whole lot, but I mean, I did a lot of things, but nothing earth-shattering. It's just busy stuff. I did some dishes. I washed dishes, and no, I did things around the home and such. So, but great to see you. Hi, Deb. Hi, Wizard Moon. Hi, Mean Green Machine. Hello, Lucky. Hi, Grace. Portal Mom's in here. Good to see you, Mom, and good to see all of you. I'm sure there's a lot more. I'm just looking at the chat as it's flying by here, so I'm trying to keep up. But the YouTube chat is cruising. Again, we're brand new on Twitch, so there aren't a lot of people finding us there yet. But maybe they will. Maybe they will. So just offering ourselves to the Twitch gods, and hopefully they see the value in what we're doing here on the portal. So. As always on Saturday night, I've got the passive investigation stuff going on. I'll show you right now. It's over here. We got the REM pod, the yes-no detector, and a couple of cat balls. And so that'll be with us throughout the night. Just keeping an eye on it and see if something stops by. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's possible. As always, the ghost radar is cooking, and maybe somebody will wander in and make that hiss and sound all creepy and scary. Generally, the sound effect that's equipped on there when it detects a strong presence, it's like, it just makes my whole body pucker. It's like, but never know. Lots of strange things happen around here in the studio. So the REM pod was kind of beeping a little bit, just quick little beeps, like something was getting close to it, but Again, I don't know. It's whatever it is with the home here, and I've used the REM pod out on locations, and it goes pretty nuts. I mean, it goes pretty crazy. But in fact, it went so crazy at a couple of locations, I was worried that something was wrong with it. It's just like, my God, it just won't stop. But it seems to be working fine. Because here in the studio, it's very, very rarely interacted with. The yes no detector as well has never been really active, but we got the cat balls. They've been known to go off a time or two in the days of doing the shows, so we'll see. And again, it's about 5 feet away from me, so I'm not close enough that any of my motions would interact with the devices. So if I'm moving over here and they happen to go off, it's not me. I'm too far away. So I've got the proximity set pretty close to those devices. So we'll just keep an eye on them, see what happens. If something interacts with them, cool. And if not, that's fine too. So anyway, it's just me and you guys tonight. You guys are my co-hosts, so we'll dig into the night. We'll do all the craziness we always do. And I guess the unseen presences are also part of the show too, if they choose to show up or not. But time will tell. Oh, there you go. The REM pod's kind of tweaking over there a little bit. It gave a couple of beeps, so we'll see. It may go off, it may not. But thanks for triggering it, letting us know you're here. That's good. Welcome to the show. Let's see. Am I forgetting anything? I already said happy Thanksgiving last night. Well, I mean, in case any of you weren't here. Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving if you celebrated, if you're from the U.S. But no matter where you are, I hope you had a wonderful weekend and week. And just love that you're here helping to support the show. That's pretty awesome. I guess the REM pod is kind of hard to see in that position, but it's okay. I mean, if it goes off, you'll see the lights flicker a little bit, but it's just did it again. So maybe something's playing with it, trying to figure out what the hell it is. Again, with spirits, we don't always know demonic presences. I don't know if that's true, Scotty. I mean, here's the thing with the whole demonic thing gets way overused in the paranormal. It's way overused. Like, people are quick to do that. And also, some religions, and fair enough, I don't mean to speak for people's belief systems, but I don't believe that everything that happens is demonic, because then there would have to be, the world would have to be swimming in demons. And I don't think there's that many of them out there. They are out there. I don't doubt that. And I certainly don't encourage anyone to have a confrontation with them, but I don't think that everything happened is a demon. It's just demon this, demon that, demon this. And we just don't know. We just don't know. Some of them could very well be former people. Some of them may never have been human, but that doesn't make them demon. It just means that they live in a different portion of our reality. And maybe they're not quite in phase with us, but they're not quite out of phase either. So they're kind of in our world and kind of not. And so those are all things to think about. But again, I'm not meaning to make any definitive claims, because I don't think anybody can. Anybody short of, God, I guess. God's the only one that can really make those claims perfectly. But at any rate, just we're going to do the news, of course, which we always get to. I've got a few stories pulled up that hopefully you find interesting and hopefully you learn something from. And then we're going to get to the Discord question of the week. Special thanks to Mr. Chucky Danger, who's keeping that rolling and doing a hell of a job. So I appreciate it, Chucky. You are awesome. Special thanks to Lucky Gypsy, who I modded on Twitch just to help me keep an eye on things, because so far I've only got 2 mods on Twitch, and that is Sheldon and Lucky Gypsy now. So if you're a Twitch user and you're watching over there and you are someone I'm familiar with, if you're willing to be a mod over there, that'd be great. I mean, really, there's nobody showing up. There's only been a handful of people that have popped in and checked it out. It's brand new. This is only literally the second real stream that I've done over there, outside of a couple test streams. But if you're a Twitch user, check it out. It's over there too. Am I forgetting anything? I don't think so. I think that's everything. I think that's everything I wanted to cover. So, in that regard, I guess we can move forward with the show. But remember, the phone lines are always live, and the number's right below my face on my lower third bar. That's right here. I guess that's right there. Yeah, I'll just put my hand like that. That looks good. And you can call in if you'd like. However, I would rather you wait till after I get done with the news, because it's hard for me to see anything when the news is up. I can't even see the chat because I'm moving articles all over the place. So if you want to call in and you've got something paranormal you want to talk about, that's great. By the way, let me know if audio stops in. I'm wondering how he's doing. Haven't heard from him. Hey, David Barnes. Good to see you, brother. Hi, Rachel. And hello, Auntie. Is that Lel? Lel, yeah, it was Lel, right? Good to see you, Auntie Lel. Thanks for coming in again. Deb Varner's here. Good to see you, Deb. Deb, were you in here when I started the show and did the news yesterday? Because they talked about a paranormal museum in North Carolina in one of the news stories, and I was like, "Hey, Deb, is that the one that you went to?" So I don't know if you noticed that or not, or maybe you got busy, but it was right in the first part of the show yesterday. If you could let me know, I was curious because it did remind me in the pictures that they had. They only had a couple, but it reminded me of what you showed me. Yes, it'd be good to hear from audio. Yeah, of course. We're kind of curious what's going on with audio. He's on that journey. If you're not familiar with it, audio's a new listener to the show, but he's been on a kayaking adventure going down the Mississippi, and I got to tell you. Oh, yes, he is. Well, he says he is. The no, it says no. The red comes on and said no. Is he not on the adventure anymore? Is that what you're saying? Well, we hope he's okay. In any case. So, hi, Eric. Good to see you. Great to see you. Great to see all of you. And to those winners of T-shirts in the last drawings, I will be getting those out soon. I'm juggling 15 things, so I apologize. It doesn't take me long to do them. It just takes me time to remember to sit down and do it. But John Labella, of course, you won one. I think, no, John didn't win this last time. Eric did. I don't know. Anyway, I've got the winners written down, and I'll get those T-shirts out to you guys soon. Hopefully they'll be there before Christmas. I don't know. It depends on shipping. Yeah, but we hope he's doing good. You're right, Wizard Moon. We're rooting for him. He's on a heck of an adventure down there, and the REM pod's flashing a little bit again. Somebody's hanging out over there. Don't be shy. I mean, don't break anything, but don't be shy. You don't have to worry about touching those devices. That's fine. If you're here, make one of those balls light up by using your energy on that. They should light up and make colors if you touch them. So we'll see if anything interacts with the balls too, because now it's been the yes/no detector and the REM pod. So a ball would be a perfect trifecta, or I guess the ghost radar too. But at any rate, let's get to the news and find out what's going on in the world of the Paranormal Portal news. And again, not all of it's paranormal, but it's all hopefully interesting. So let's check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the news. Ladies and gentlemen, most trusted news, which is the Paranormal Portal news. And is John in here? Did he say? John might not be here tonight. I always look forward to him saying it's the only news I trust. Good to see you, Morathis. Who's Morathis? I didn't see. Where's the Morathis? I missed the name, but somebody said hi, Morathis. So if Morathis, if you're new, hi, hey, Chasing Mound Builders, good to see you. Colleen Bowman came in, good to see you. Yeah, I don't know. Where is Morathis? I don't know, but somebody said hi, Morathis. I don't know. Oh, more of this, more of that. Yeah, sorry. I'm a brick sometimes. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Yeah, not the sharpest pencil. That's why I do my own show and I don't work for people. I just can't be trusted with any kind of responsibility. All right, the first article we're going to cover comes from one of our favorite sites here in the portal, and this is unexplained-mysteries.com. And I just, again, I know it gets old. I keep doing it, but I can't encourage you enough to please support this site. It's a great site. Any of the sites that I read stuff from, please support them. Please help them out because they put up these top-of-the-line sites, and your traffic is important to continue that. So please stop into unexplained-mysteries.com. Oops, I dragged it over an ad right there. And check it out. And try not to drag over the heads too much. All right, here, this one has to do with the UFO phenomena, ladies and gentlemen. And again, unexplained-mysteries.com brings us the first story. Ooh, I got to take that off first. There we go. All right, this is unexplained-mysteries.com. Yorkshire Police UFO files include case of woman beamed into the sky. Yeah, I don't know what could prepare you for something like that. Not only to see a UFO, but to see a UFO beaming somebody up into the sky. It's just crazy. I wonder if that means that transporters in Star Trek just aren't possible, because let's just look at the possibilities here. These are maybe hundreds or thousands of years advanced to us, and yet they're still sucking people up in a beam of light, which is cool, and it's something we can't currently do, but they're not like dissolving them and reassembling them up on the ship. They're just sucking them up in a beam of light. So does that mean that transporters just are not going to be possible? I know or teleporters, I guess is what I'm looking for. Transporters. They called them transporters on Star Trek, I believe. But yeah, I wonder if that's what that means, or if they just never looked into it personally. Anyway, yet West Yorkshire police claim to have received over 1,800 cases pertaining to UFOs in the space of just 3 years. That's a lot of traffic, folks. 3 years, and they got that much traffic? UFO traffic? Come on, that's a ton. Yikes. Okay. UFO reports seem to be particularly abundant in England's northwest, and that is at least according to the results of a recent Freedom of Information Act request. Actually obtaining detailed information about these sightings, however, is proving to be easier said than done. The request, which was put forward by UFO Truth magazine editor Gary Hazeltine, was mostly refused on the basis that it would cost the police too much to retrieve and organize the records. What? Really? Wow, that's kind of a sellout there. Unfortunately, West Yorkshire police are unable to provide you with the information requested, the official response reads. It is estimated the cost of providing/locating the information you seek within our request would exceed the time threshold when a reasonable estimate has been made that the appropriate limit would be exceeded. There are no requirements for a public authority to undertake the work. The police department did provide one, albeit extremely brief, case report. Mail caller reports seeing 4 flashing lights hovering above his property in the street before a female was beamed into the sky, it reads. Unsurprisingly, Hazeltine wasn't particularly impressed by the response. It is disappointing response, and I am surprised that they do not have searchable keyword database that could retrieve the information quickly, he told the Mirror. Interestingly, they have admitted 1,805 UFO-related events from 2020, which seems extremely high to me. And it also seems extremely likely that in order to count them, they knew which ones were the UFO reports. So I don't get their claim that they don't have the ability to pull up these reports and provide them. So I mean, if you make a claim like, I've got 8,350 pennies, but I don't have the time to get you any. Brent is from Minnesota. Shouldn't he done hey the news day he day the news sure, don't you know? Oh, You betcha. You betcha, Eric. I use that. I'm kind of still in touch. Okay, yeah, Deb says, yes, that was the museum that we were at in Littleton. I thought so. I do pay attention. All right, so they seem to know exactly how many UFO reports they've taken, but they don't seem to be very interested in getting them for anybody. So that seems to be a pretty stupid admission, because they gave a count. Even a ballpark count is pretty huge. So it must not be all that hard to pull these things out and get them for the person doing the Freedom of Information request. Right? I mean, is that just me? If you said, well, we've got a ton of them, we're not even sure how many because we can't catalog them all. And then you get a Freedom of Information request. Oh, sorry, we just never cataloged them. They just kind of get thrown into a file system that nobody understands. But to admit how many they've had, and then to make a claim that they don't have the resources to provide a Freedom of Information request, that's terrible. That's terrible. That's lying, right? That's lying, right? They're lying. Anybody want to pipe in? No? All right. Thought you were gonna be there for me. All right. My invisible co-host. Hey, exploring the Ka with Ra Castaldo. How you doing, Ra? Good to see you, brother. Ra. All right, so I that's my take on this. I think that's a bunch of bunk. I think these people are huffing fumes over there or something in that police department. That doesn't make sense to me. You don't say how many records you got and then claim you don't have the resources to provide them. All right, let's go to the next one from the unexplained-mysteries.com. Actually, just unexplainedmysteries.com. Unexplained-mysteries. Here we go. A long time ago, or a while ago, China launched some rocket that was supposed to land on the south pole of the moon or something like that, and it crashed. So be it. But here comes a report from unexplained-mysteries.com that says mystery undisclosed payload involved in rocket's double crater crash. It's a mystery payload. What the hell is that? I don't know what they're doing up there. What would they send up there? I mean, it's got to be just research stuff, right? A new study has concluded that the Chinese rocket that crashed into the moon in 2022 was carrying a mystery payload. How long is this one? No, it's not bad. It says the debris, which was first spotted by astronomers back in 2015, crashed into the moon in 2022. The debris, which was first spotted by astronomers in 2015. How do you get debris before you got a crash? It crashed in 2022. Now they got debris from 2015. That math is not working for me. I'm sorry. Is it just me, or is that not making sense? Anyway, continue on. Attracted quite a bit of attention in 2022 when it became apparent that it was going to impact on the far side of the moon. At the time, space debris tracker Bill Gray initially believed that it was the second stage of a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, but further analysis later revealed that it was more likely to be China's Chang'e 5T1 rocket, which, having launched in 2014, had served as a dry run for a mission to collect some of the moon's regolith. I'm not sure what regolith is. Maybe rocks? I don't know. Anyway, whatever it was, the object ultimately did crash into the lunar surface, creating two overlapping craters. Now, according to a new study, this peculiar double crater suggests something strange about the object because despite several dozen other known rocket impacts on the moon, none had ever created two overlapping craters before. Something that's been in space as long as this is subjected to forces from the Earth's and the moon's gravity and the light from the sun, said study first author Tanner Campbell. So you'd expect it to wobble a little bit, particularly when you consider that the rocket body is a big empty shell with a heavy engine on one side. But this isn't just tumbling end over end in a very stable way, but this was just tumbling end over end in a very stable way. The explanation, the researchers believe, is that the rocket was carrying some sort of mysterious payload that caused it to fall like a pair of dumbbells with the rocket boosters on one end and the unknown payload on the other. This also explains why the impact created 2 craters instead of 1. Exactly what this unknown payload may have been, however, continues to remain a mystery. Obviously, we have no idea what it might have been, perhaps some extra support structure or additional instrumentation or something else, said Campbell. We probably won't ever know. Yeah, I'm betting you're never going to get those answers for sure. It's like they got a police station that can't even track records. And you want to get the truth from China, what they were carrying? I mean, maybe they would say, but I don't know. I don't think China's really used to being real forthcoming about much anything if they don't want to be. So, okay. There you go. Second article. One more to go, ladies and gentlemen. One more to go. And this one is also from unexplained-mysteries.com. No, that was the one I just read. I pulled up the same one twice. We might be done with the news, but I thought I had another one here. No, that's not it. Did that one. I don't really want to talk about Doctor Who at 60. So, well, here's this one. I don't know. It's science and technology. Let me look at the size of this article. We might just be done. Yeah, this is not going to get read tonight. I don't know. All right. I guess that's it, folks, for tonight. Let me refresh just to see if they got anything new. No, we got that one yesterday. So, okay. I guess that's it, folks. We are going to be done with the news. So, a couple of space stories, some about UFOs, some about mysterious double crater crashes on the surface of the moon. And China's not really coming clean about what it is and probably won't ever. So, hope you learned something tonight. I don't know if I learned anything or not, but I learned that apparently Yorkshire police are really extra lazy, or they're being told not to provide these records. So, either way, not very fun. Not very nice. Okay, Audio's in Arkansas. There he is. Audio's here. Audio, we were wondering about you tonight, brother. So, good to see that you're in Arkansas. You're making moves, brother. Good to go. Good to hear it. We've been kind of missing you, so we just wondered if you're still on the journey or something had happened or what. So, you gotta check in, 'cause we care. But anyway, this has been the news, folks. So let's get back to the rest of the show. All right, folks, we are back at it here on the Paranormal Portal. And as always, that was the news. Hope you liked it. Hope you learned something and had some good takeaways. I don't know. Again, how do you count your records and then not be able to find them? It's almost comedic. That's almost comedic. Okay. Wait, let me do that again. I dribbled down my chin. All right. Got to take extra loud drinks for our listening audience who love that snapping plastic. It's like a choir of angels, isn't it? All right, so we are going to get to the next segment of the show, which hopefully is equally as good as the first segment, which was the news. Maybe even better, because I know when it started out, I was like, ooh, we're not getting many responses here. But a quick post to the Discord, and by God, we got a ton of comments here, so we got a lot to go over. And there's the question. Good. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get to the next part of the show. And this is a segment called the Discord Question of the Week. I got to resize that for the chat. Actually, I could put the chat under it. I didn't think about that. Oops. Let me try it again. Let's try it again. Let's do it again. There it is. It's all about placement, folks. Oh, gives me chills. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Discord question of the week. As we dive into yet another question from Discord, dealing with some kind of paranormal topic that we throw out to our Discord community and say, hey guys, what do you think? Because it's a great opportunity to hear what you think. You hear what I think all the time. And I really love the idea that you guys can tell me what you think. That you can give you can give us your 2 cents. I got to see where this is going to line up. All right, let's put it on screen and we can start into it. Here's the Discord, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not familiar with Discord, it's not really as difficult as it might look. At first blush, it's like, what the hell is this? It doesn't look like anything I've ever used. When you join a server like the Paranormal Portal server, which is something you can join if you want to, I'll put the link here to join the Discord. https://discord.gg/paranormal-portal. Boom. There we go. And that will put it out there. And you can join it. You can become a member of our ever-growing community of people on Discord. So when you join the server, you're going to see this. This is the main general tab. Oh, thanks, ZX81V2. He promoted this on Discord. Thank you. I appreciate that, brother. And this is the general tab. So this is the general, right? When you walk in the door, this is like the entryway. And we had Hawk Poodoo joined the Discord. So welcome, Hawk. Good to see you. I already said hello. And, everybody, whenever somebody joins, you get this, it says, Hawk Poodoo joined the party, and then you can click the wave high, and that'll create a little waving emoji from you for this person. Now, it's really easy to navigate because this side of the screen on the left is the different discussion groups. When we do a t-shirt giveaway, every month we do a t-shirt giveaway on Discord. That's over here, and you will enter by just saying, enter me. Well, no, gotta change that, I think. Sign me up, maybe. That's what you're going to say. If you're brand new to Discord, here's a Discord tutorial. And these videos will walk you through how to use Discord, just so you're not all lost and confused. We also have the question of the week, which is what we're going to get to now. And this is where Chucky, who's been running this for a while now, doing a hell of a job, asks a question. And you guys can all weigh in with your thoughts. And remember, there's no wrong answers. It's not like somebody's going to check your answer and hand it back to you. Everybody's answer is just as valid as anyone else's because we just don't know. So don't let that intimidate you. Don't let that worry you. Just put in what you think. It's great. Again, I've learned a ton of ideas just by reading these threads. These are always just incredible to me. And you guys bring up things that I may never have thought of because, again, this is my journey. This is me trying to understand this weird stuff that happens in the world. So your thoughts are just as valid as mine. So, and there's all the responses. Now, there's other threads here, too. There's episode discussion threads where if people are posting, like if I post a link to the show during the show, somebody may post it in here as well. Maggie's done that a bunch, and which is really cool. There's Bigfoot, which is always a good thread. There's Dogman. There's Ghosts. A lot of great videos are saved here or posted here that you can check out. And other information. UFO. Extraterrestrial encounters. Cryptids. Music. Even music, folks. You'll catch some really great music in here. I've learned of a lot of new bands just by cruising through these. Strange phenomena, paranormal library, people recommending books and stuff, dealing with the paranormal or other things, and paranormal movies, which is movies people are checking out. And some of these are phenomenal as well. So lots of great stuff to check out. And there's voice channels down here too, but literally outside of testing them, I've never seen anybody use these. So they are there if you want to get together and just chat with people in the community rather than typing. But anyway, we are interested in the question of the week. So we're going to do that now. Wait, I'm on the bottom here. Let's go up. Where are you, Chucky? There you are. Okay. So again, thanks, Chucky. And his question tonight for this week is, question of the week. During the ancient past, there seems to be periodically a jump in technology being used peoples of the ancient world. Technology being what? Okay, of the ancient world. What are your thoughts on the idea of influences from outside our world stepping in and teaching people new ideas and technology in order to advance civilization overall? So it's kind of the ancient astronaut theory, and is I think what he's going for here. The idea that maybe primitive man was helped, and I don't mean man in a sexist way, so please don't let your feelings get hurt. It's just a term. But primitive peoples getting these boosts. You look at ancient sites like Pumapunka and the pyramids and other things that just seem so far beyond primitive people with basically Bronze Age tools are erecting these masterpieces. It says, Mom. Hey, Mom, everything okay? Let me know. The ghost box here is saying Mom. So let me know, Portal Mom, everything good? All right. So we'll have to wait and see. I don't know if Mom's okay. But have there been instances where we've gotten help? Our ancestors have received lessons and tutorials and maybe inspirations from these maybe otherworldly beings. Is that possible? And so I think it's a valid point that it could very well be, because there's things going on in this world that ancient world especially, when you look at granite being carved with absolute laser precision, and somehow these people apparently did it with bronze tools, which in and of itself doesn't seem likely to be possible because it's granite. And I don't think you can carve granite with bronze. There wasn't steel. There wasn't high carbon steels and stuff. It was just bronze tools. So, which are very soft in comparison. Melted rocks. Exactly, Chucky. There's plenty of evidence to suggest that maybe these ancient people were able to transition the stone to a much more malleable state, form their shapes, and then reharden it or something. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure what to think, but yeah, Mom says she's fine. Okay, Mom's fine. Thanks, Ghostbox, for making me collectively have to. Sorry, I had to mute myself. All right, so cymatics. Is that the process of softening stone? Chasing mound builders, is that what you're referring to? Cymatics is sound, right? There's a sci-fi book, I can't remember the title right now, but it uses portal teleportation, and supercomputer hides inside people's brains using the brain as its own computer. Well, there you go. Yeah, sound. Okay, cymatics is sound. Yep. So let's see what people said. Karen Alberding came in first. I got to lean in because Discord's font is kind of small on my screens, which are about 3 feet away from me. Okay, I am of two differing opinions on this and just really not sure. One thought, I feel that we are all originally many moons ago from a different planet that may have been dying and came to colonize this one, finding it habitable. Therefore, having the ability and technology to advance civilization, I misread that. However, going too far almost wiped out everything, and basically humans had to reset and start over. I feel there have probably been many resets over time. My other thought is, yes, there have been influences from other civilizations that helped create or advance where we are today. I do still, however, believe we came from somewhere else and needed the help. Again, still believing there have been resets. I'm sure I sound like I'm off my rocker, but kind of hard to explain because it's hard to put my thoughts completely into words here. Either way, I still do believe God created us. It doesn't necessarily say we were created on this exact planet. There are, I'm sure, Earths in other galaxies. I'm really not crazy, just my thoughts. Well, the other thought is let's just take that idea and just for a second and look at the allegory of Eden. What if Eden wasn't this Earth at all? What if it's another Earth, another place where people lived, with some form of God? And due to their actions or maybe their volatility, we were exiled out here. And this is following Eden. I don't know. I mean, it's just a thought. I mean, who can know? But great thoughts, Karen. You don't sound like you're off your rocker at all. I think those are great ideas. So next comes Arc Blaster. I often imagine the old world lost a lot of useful technology due to corrupted elite families, which really govern us all. Yeah, there's always that possibility. Is there a group of people that are sitting on all this incredible knowledge and they're just piecemealing it out over pieces of time, or never? I mean, I don't know, but that's a valid point, Arc Blaster. ZX81V2, the Great Reset happens every 12,600 years or so. If the sun kicks out enough power at the planet, it would fry any grid worldwide instantly. High tech turns into useless chunks of scrap. This then gets recycled by the next generations until it's gone. Then from what they learned afterwards is recreated. Enough change in the planet would carve mountains. Electricity as we know it may not be a usable form as it is now, just from the change or the charge levels in atmosphere. Ever noticed how all these civilizations all vanished 12,000 years ago, and all those underground cities we keep discovering? 12,000 years, galactic max. This takes this long for the pulse to hit the sun. Galactic max is like a solar max, but from the core of the galaxy. Strange things are happening on every planet in our solar system at the moment. More energy is arriving. The great cycle is at an end. The new epoch begins again from the ashes of the last. That's an interesting take. We just talked about the goddess particle, or that just managed to be detected coming into the Earth, and it's the first of its kind. So what if that's, and they track the origin of it, and it's from a blank area of space where there's no other, like nothing. It's like a void of space where that particle came from. So, I don't know. Very interesting. All right, coming in next, Maggie M10. Purely speculating, I think it's possible something or someone gave humanity ideas or blueprints, etc., to advance technology. The Industrial Revolution seemed to pop out of nowhere. In terms of timelines, researching dates of inventions, it does seem huge leaps were made in just a matter of months. I like the idea of time traveling too, and downloads, or even people reporting dreams where they were given the instructions and wrote them down upon waking to build something that would better humanity. I do wonder where ideas come from generally. I don't have a firm opinion on how or why technology was given to us, if it is true. I just think there is way more to it all in our history than we currently know. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's absolutely right. All right, Chasing Mound Builders comes in, and he's a gentleman that's researched a lot of this ancient stuff. You know me, Chucky Danger. I'm about the Anunnaki angle. The Sumerian and Akkadian texts kind of leave no doubt about alien involvement. For me, it's more of a question of, are the creation stories in terms of the pantheon literal or a reference to planetary movement? I'm not saying it couldn't even be both. All theories under the umbrella of one official creative force, that is. As this is certainly a creation of some sort. Yeah, those are great thoughts. I did an episode with a gentleman from, God, where was he from? It wasn't Saudi Arabia, but he was in that area. He's a Sergio Halib, I think is his name. And he and I got together and did a couple of our podcast episodes. But very intelligent guy, and I think I called the podcast episode "Religion of the Anunnaki" or something like that. But his premise was basically that the Abrahamic religions were formed from some of these Anunnaki being here. Enlil and what's the Enlil and Enki? The talk of those, one of them being Yahweh and the other one being something else, Elohim or something. I don't remember. But essentially, it's a very interesting take, and I don't know. But we had a great discussion. If you want to go back and listen to that podcast episode, that's can be found everywhere the podcast can be found. But Sergio was an incredibly interesting guy. And I don't know enough about it to have a real solid opinion either way. I do think we got help. I do think we've been helped. I don't know why. I don't know. Certainly the Anunnaki epochs all are incredibly interesting. And the advanced knowledge of interstellar space for these very primitive societies doesn't seem likely. Making very accurate star maps and things on cuneiform tablets to me is hard to swallow. How did they do that? They didn't have telescopes that we know of, right? So how did they know? They were apparently charting and mapping things that there's no way they would have seen them with the naked eye. So I don't know. It's really, really crazy stuff. Let's go to the next one here, and this is Pineapple Tango. I like the idea that there are more good entities here and out there than there are bad. So maybe they are helping us. But I think the more likely thing is that we stumbled along and made several small discoveries. And then things started to snowball and we made discovery after discovery. And it was suddenly a new technological age. Then religious philosophers said it was God's will and that we would never learn anything new until he deemed it okay. Do you think it's God's will? Is that what you're saying over there? Is it God's will that we learn things? I think that's probably true. Personally, I don't believe that. People don't give the people of the past enough credit for creativity and ingenuity. They had culture, they could communicate, and they knew more than we think they did. There's a lot of thinking that only the rich, college-educated could come up with clever ideas and solutions, and when that's not true at all. We are smarter than we think. Not everything has to have an outside source. Maybe they plant the seed of an idea, and we just have to figure out how to make it work. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think maybe it is fair. Maybe it's kind of an ongoing experiment, Like maybe they seed ideas and just see what we'll do with it. Like, wonder what they'll do with lasers. Let's give them lasers. I don't know. I'm being a little cheeky, but I'm also being sincere. So, yeah, great thoughts, Pineapple. Thank you. Rachel 101 comes in next, says it's possible that some outside of our world observers may have influenced civilizations on Earth. We shouldn't forget that in all of human or pre-Homo sapiens, there were those among them who were born geniuses. Of course, an outside/alien civilization could have noticed that genius of a particular individual, both Homo sapien and pre-humans, and provided them through telepathy the knowledge to develop certain technologies, possibly influencing the whole community, as it might be challenging to convince the whole tribe that this thing one individual created is a better device than the one that currently existed. Yeah, that's good truth. Good truth. Existers, I guess. Existers. Possibly civilization resets when things weren't going as planned. That's a good point. Yeah, is it like wiping the chalkboard kind of thing? Something along those lines, maybe. I mean, reset loosely by the powers that be or who they served, perhaps. Yeah, that's a good take. Existers. I don't think that I've seen that name before, but nice to see you. Thanks for coming in. Alleluia Goat came in next and says, if you mean somebody coming in and teaching us, then it would suck. We would grab a hold of it, explore it, and commercialize it. I could have read the question wrong. Well, I mean, there's certainly the idea that maybe things like the Greada Treaty, which is apparently the agreement between Eisenhower and what most people can consider the Greys, the Gray aliens, like there was an agreement. Hey, you give us technological advances and you can test on X number of people, do your tests, as it were. And maybe they didn't release all the information. Maybe it's not been filtered into our societies. Maybe it's been holed up in think tanks and the shadow government kind of stuff. I mean, who knows? I spout words like that, but I really don't know what that means for sure. But I have no doubt that there is technological ability within our world right now that was created by people that obviously military-wise and other, though. I'm not just speaking of, maybe the TR-3Bs or stuff, but I think, all of that stuff could have been taught and just held on to by a select group. And that's the very real human nature thing. It's like, well, it's kind of like the movie The Incredibles. He was like, I'm developing all these things just for me. And when I'm done, then I'll release them to everybody. And then when everybody's a super, nobody's super. So maybe that's part of it. That's just that greedy, selfish kind of nature that seems to permeate individuals in a lot of cases. More of this, more of that comes in. I'm thinking that Earth civilizations have always had help from otherworldly or dimensional beings. The entity's motivation behind their influence remains to be seen. Yeah, good take. I think you're probably right. Spicy Blue comes in and says, it does seem suspicious that people in different places come up with the same idea at the same time. I agree completely. That's a great take. It's like the idea was there if you were tuned in. My husband used to come up with ideas all the time, and within a few weeks, you would hear about a website or app that would do that. It doesn't seem to matter who gets it as long as they do something with it. I do believe we are guided along a certain path, but keeping things working for humans instead of against us is where there seems to be a problem. Yeah, absolutely, Spicy Blue. I couldn't agree more. Again, there's a selfishness that permeates all this stuff. All right, Wheel Energy Rat, good to see you. New name I'm not familiar with, but welcome to commenting here. All last week, many related shaman were reporting on portals. Paranormal Portal is number 1 on TalkStream Live. Really? What? Well, what do you know? Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Wheel Energy Rat. 7107. Cool. Let's have applause. That's pretty cool. I don't know if that's just that was the first one that came up or if that means anything, but thank you. Oh, I guess it does. It does kind of mean that, doesn't it? Very cool. So Paranormal Portal is number 1 on TalkStream Live. Wow. When did you 742? So that's just now. You just posted that. And look at those numbers, folks. Woo! That big yellow bar under Truth Frequency Radio. Awesome. Very cool. Thank you. That just made my night. I mean, granted, I would do the show if it was just, a handful of people. I really would. But it's neat to think that maybe there's people out there that are enjoying this. So, again, this has been the question of the week. Thank you so much, everybody. You guys are awesome. And all the participation is fantastic. Again, your thoughts, it's amazing that we all seem to have pretty much the similar take on this. We're not quite sure if it's all been given to us. I mean, there is a place just to celebrate the achievements of people, like a Tesla, for instance. That guy was so far ahead of his time. He basically invented the modern age, and he wasn't selfish about it. He was completely altruistic in his goals to make sure that things were better. And he really did literally create the modern age. He didn't get credit for a lot of it, unfortunately, but he didn't really seem to care. He just was more concerned that the ideas were out there and that people were benefiting from them. So, world needs more Teslas. Not the cars, the man. Nikola Tesla. The cars are good too. I mean, I don't know. But I'm just talking about the idea of pushing ahead. That cool, refreshing water. All right, so thank you to everybody that took part in this. Again, we'd love to see more of you over on the Discord. So again, it's https://discord.gg/paranormal portal. And special thanks to K-Love, because she boosted the server enough that we could get a concrete URL. Gotta love it. You guys have done amazing things here. Thank you so much for all the love and supports and all that you've contributed to the community. Yeah, that's a really cool thing. Man, how about that? Should we look at it bigger? Look at that. Truth Frequency Radio. That's where we're broadcasting right now. Yep. How about that? Very cool. All right, so that's going to wrap up the Discord question of the week, ladies and gentlemen. So I guess with that, we can probably get back to the rest of the show. Oh, do you agree? Good. A little beep. Again? Okay. Anything else? This is your moment. Okay. All right. Well, someone's playing with it over there. All right. So Discord question of the week is now over. Where is it? There it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it here, and we got a lot more to go. Got a lot more show to go. We're going to visit an article we've been burning through a little bit here, and think you can make one of those balls go off? One of those little balls light up that are over there? You've done it before. I'm sure you can again, right? Just let me know you're hearing me, or are you just over there ignoring me? You don't have to pay attention. You don't have to pay attention to me, but you could. Just saying. All right. Let's see what we got next. Okay. Now we're going to go to an article again that I mentioned, and if anybody wants to call in, please go ahead. Be waiting to hear from you. That's always good. And good to see you, Luna Moonicorn. I didn't see you come in before. I really can't do shout-outs. Well, I guess I could. We could do shout-outs quick from our YouTube. I don't think there will be any on Twitch yet. Maybe there are. But let's see who's there. So I've got Chasing Mound Builders. God, I can't read that. Chucky Danger's over there. Deb Varner. E-Rev's over there. Oh, there they come. Oh, now you're chirping in. Okay. Deb Varner, who came in. Audio came in. Good to see Audio. Deb Varner. E-Rev. Flyer Tuck. Glades Creature, Grumpy Owl just showed up. Issa Reloaded is in there. Luna Moonicorn. More of this, more of that. What is this? Mr. Fleshrot? I like that name, Mr. Fleshrot. This sounds like a zombie thing. Amanda S. just popped in. Good to see Amanda. Thank you for coming in. Who do we got next? I'm here. Paul Haywood's here. Haywood? Yeah, Paul Haywood's here. RJ Windwalker's here. Rachel Gets It Right. Nick Waggerson and Wizard Moon. Those are the active chatters over there. Chucky Danger popped up. Good to see you, Chucky. What's this? Clerk Maxwell. Good to see you, Clerk. That's a new name. I don't know if you go by Clerk or Maxwell. Are you a clerk or is your name Clerk? That's interesting. But I think that's everybody, right? That's... Oops, someone else popped in. Who is it? Blondie Lady? Blondie Lady. How you doing, Blondie Lady? Thanks for coming in. I'm getting to meet a bunch of new people tonight. This is really cool. Very good. All right. So let's get to that article that I was going to read. Thank you for participating on the chat. I appreciate that. More coming in. Who else came in? Chris Cirque came in. Did someone else come in? I'm just looking at the list. I think that's everybody else. Okay. So Chris was the newest participant that popped in. Okay. All right. There we go. I can do that. I can do that. Mora, yeah. Mr. Fleshrat. That's it's an interesting name. Just in time for Halloween. Or is it a bad rash? No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's get to the article that I keep teasing and don't ever do anything with. Okay, I'm just getting it set up over here. So we've been going through an article, and this is, again, thoughtcatalog.com. And it's 50 true stories from people who've lived in a haunted house. So I don't know if any of you out there have lived in a haunted house. Thanks, Brent. Haha, it's been my gamer tag for years since I was a teenager. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, my gamer tag was the Roamer. I don't know. Thought it sounded cool back in the day. I don't know. But anyway, I still use it out on some of the games when I play them. But I'm sure there's many of them out there. All right. Blades creature. What are you kidding about, Clark? Clerk Kent. Oh, Clerk Kent. Ah, I didn't catch that. You could be right. Gotcha. I missed that. Look at this. I'm wearing the damn shirt. You'd think. I don't know how to. Cool Hand. There you are. Good to see you, Cool Hand. Thanks for coming in. Some of the most obvious things just go right over my head. And it makes me wonder, am I a dense person? Am I just am I dense, or am I just, is it just, I don't know. I don't know what my excuse is. I wish I had a good one. Did anyone ever play DOD, Day of Defeat? No, I didn't, John. I used to play some first-person shooters. I used to play a game called Jedi Knight way back in the day. That was a pretty cool one. I used to love that one. And then I played Black Hawk Down. I played that one. The movie was really intense, and it was like, wow. And so I played that game, which is, I think, a Battleground game. And then I played World of Warcraft a bunch. I lost a lot of my life on World of Warcraft. That game will suck you into a black hole. And I still like that game. I still like it. It's just, I can't get too lost in it. I'll sometimes play here and there, but I can't let myself get lost in it because I could waste months just grinding stuff out. Craziness. All right. So these are an article about people who lived in haunted houses. And I've experienced living in a haunted house. Now, I will say that one thing that I noticed was that the activity was never consistent. It was never just like, oh, it's always something going on. It was just spurts. There would be spurts of activity that I would experience. And this house, I would say, has a presence or two. Sometimes I'll be walking through the house and catch some like old-fashioned perfume. And it's not in one place. It'll just be kind of migratory, like a moving smell. And I figure it might be an old lady that's used to live here. This was actually one of the first houses in this town. And it's an old place. I like it. It feels warm and kind and wonderful. But yeah, unfortunately, there's a dark history to this house, though, too. So that could account for at least some of the activity. But I don't want to get into that because it's really sad. So Diablo 4, yeah, I know.
Noise.
What's the noise? What's the noise? Are you the noise? It's okay. Just don't make too much noise. Diablo 4 is one that Sheldon's been playing. I know he's been playing that. Why is the feed weird on screen? I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you're watching it, Miss Firejack. What do you mean by weird? What does that mean? You have to let me know. I don't know what weird means. Does it look like the quality's bad or what are you seeing? Let me know when you get a chance. Or someone let me know after Miss Firejack responds. So we're going to go into this article, and these are, again, real quick segments from Reddit that they pulled out, and I can't attribute it to the Reddit writers because the author of this article did not write in the actual authors. Let me look and see who is the writer again. It's January Nelson, and this article is from Last updated was September 2022. So January Nelson is the author of this article. All right, so we're on number 26. Oops. Did I go too far? Nope. 26. There it is. All right, so here we go. Number 26 of people that lived in a haunted house. Let's check it out. Number 26. When I was a kid, about 8 or 9 years old, I had a TV stand in front of my window. The lights from the street always were on, so in the dark, I could easily make out the outline of where my TV was. I started seeing a shadow figure of a girl standing right next to my TV. I could make out her figure so clear, hair and everything. I spent nights just looking at her. I couldn't even sleep. One night I got sick of it and threw a pillow at her. As soon as I did, I put my head under the other pillow. I have it a couple of minutes and I looked up and she was right next to me at the edge of the bed. I screamed so loud and my parents came in and turned on the lights. A few days later, my sister told me that she has been seeing a little girl in her room. I never told my little sister about my experience prior to that. Weird. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think you can just say, hey, knock it off. Quit staring at me. That's you got to stop that. That's creepy and weird. And I think in most cases that'll do it. I mean, you got to mean it though. You can't be like, hey, quit. Could you quit standing there? Could you quit? Is that right? If you just get asked, is that you guys more than likely respond to a nice request, right? Or a statement. But you can't be like, hey, could you stop that, please? I don't like it. That's probably not going to get you any results. But if you say, hey, knock it off. Now knock it off. There's no reason for that. Stop it. A lot of times, if these were formerly human spirits, they're going to respond because they're not trying to be, usually they're not trying to cause problems. They're just maybe moving for acknowledgement. They just want to be noticed. And I can understand that. I think that it would drive me insane to be somewhere. What did RJ say? Something's messed up. I lived in a haunted house with a dead body under the floor in the room next to mine. Oh man. That's nightmare fuel right there. Oof, that's crazy. Yeah, not good at all. I Jesus. That's what I do when strange things happen here. What do you do, Barbara? What did Mr. Fleshrot say? There's so many conversations going on. I'm missing it. Let's see. I had a porcelain angel fly out of my friend's room, off of a shelf, and shatter against her wall. Her mom thought we threw it. Yikes, that is crazy. And then he says, what? She believed us because we weren't even in the room. Creepy stuff, not even the creepiest stuff I've seen throughout my life. Well, Mr. Fleshrot, you should be contacting me on the paranormalportal.net. Click interview me and you can be a guest on the podcast and talk about your crazy stuff, man. Love to hear it. That is wild though. Things moving is no small thing. All right. Yeah, that's wild. So let's get to number 26. Oh, could make out her figure so clear. Oh yeah, I finished that one. Number 27. Sorry, I lost myself completely. I was around 16 when this happened. I used to lay in bed reading sometimes, something. So I thought I was going to say sometimes. The room at first would feel normal, and then it started to feel really icy. Not that the room got cold, but just got the feeling that it gave me, if that makes sense. It really felt uncomfortable. Next, it would feel as if something or somebody was just staring at you. There wasn't anybody there, nor did I see anything, but just the feeling that something looked at you hate-filled was enough for me. Often I get the feeling leave the room, so I did, and then just played a video game of some sort. The thing had left the room after about an hour or so. This happened about 3 times. In the same home, the flat really, other things happened that were weird. The first was a shadow person sneaking along the walls of my bedroom during the day. Oh, that's horrible. Second, we had a dog, a small one named DJ. Think something along the size of a fox terrier, and you got it. One day I came home to collect something from my room, and it was during the day, and DJ followed me in. I heard a deep growling from under the bed. It says under the bed. At first, I thought it must have been the dog, but I already knew that DJ wasn't capable of making this deep of a noise. It sounded either like a really big dog or a man doing his best and kind of scary growling impression. This happened only once, but the experience just stuck with me. Another weird thing with the dog was the time he was afraid to come to the living room. Next to my bedroom, there was a small room we used it as a computer room, and DJ was in there at the time, and I heard him whimpering and pacing, even growling lowly at a thing that was in the hallway. I called to him, but he didn't budge. I had to come and pick him up and then remove him from the room. They all happened at the same flat. I lived there a few years with my mom after the divorce. Things happened and I left her home to live with my dad. She moved a few months later, but I think she was the one that carried this thing with her. At my dad, a few small things happened, but nothing like the experiences with my mom. Yikes. That's, the growly stuff is really freaky. That's where it's like, oh no. And again, I'm not suggesting that it's demonic. I just don't think we could know, but I mean, it could be. I've certainly felt that icy feeling, or it's not really the temperature, but something else feels frigid. Feels like, I don't know, all the joy is being sucked out of a room and kind of leaves you just feeling flat. So I'm familiar with that. Yeah, that's really creepy stuff. I think you got to get someone in to cleanse when it gets that dark, because something is definitely pushing the boundaries, and that's not okay. You can't be afraid to live in your home. All right, number 28. Moved from the U.S. to the U.K., and our parents bought an old beat-up house. Still had lead pipes for the water. Oh, God. God, that's terrible. I don't feel that too smart. It still had lead pipes. Wow. Nightmare all on its own. And anyway, work proceeded on the house whilst we lived there. We started seeing bright lights in the corners of the room at night. Footsteps on floorboards. The house had carpet. I was about 6 at the time and started getting woken up in the night by a little girl who would dance on my chest of drawers for me. I was freaking terrified. My mom just fobbed it off as me dreaming. Workmen complained of strange things happening, like tools being moved and odd feeling like they were being watched. After about a year of this, my elder sister's friend, stayed overnight, and she woke the whole house up screaming and saying the little girl had been in her room. She had apparently pulled her from the bed. The friend left the house and refused to have her come back. Mom decided she might need to do something about it and got some advice. He suggested my mom and the whole family should treat the presences as part of the family. What? Oh, I mean, there's that angle, but... So when we got home, we shout, "Hi, we're home. Did you have a good day?" Over the time, the house settled. Well, there you go. I guess it worked. That can be bad. If it's a negative thing, that can be bad, but it can be positive. I'm kind of two minds about that. Over time, the house settled and we didn't get any more trouble. We also found out a little girl did pass away in the house of asthma. Aw. My parents still live there, and it's a beautiful, lovely, homely place now. Well, that's good. That's a happy ending. But yeah, so if it is just for attention, sure. Hey, I'm home. Hey, we're stepping out. Be back later. Keep an eye on things. That kind of thing can help. It's anytime again when I see little kid stuff, I get stuck, but there can be little kid spirits. And I've kind of learned that since doing the show, talking to like Deb and stuff. But I don't think kid spirits are as common as they appear to be. I don't think there's kid spirits everywhere. I think that there are kid spirits, but I don't think there's a ton of them. But yeah, I guess, making peace with it. That's one of my big things is telling people, look, you got to claim your space. You got to say, look, address it. I know you're here. You're making it really clear that you're here. I'm okay with you being here if you are kind, loving, and a positive influence and caring about the home and about us people in it. If you are dark and negative, you are not allowed to stay. You must leave. You are not welcome in this space. If you mean harm, if you are full of malice and hatred, you have to go. And generally speaking, that can have real positive results. You can phrase it your own way. But again, whenever you have these discussions, yeah, would you agree that works? I think it works. Because I think you guys want attention, right? Like you want, not attention. I think you want to be noticed, right? And respected. Would that be accurate? Okay. So I think addressing it is powerful. I don't know about saying, hey, you're part of the family now, unless you know that it's peaceful and loving and kind. That's fine. Or you've come to feel like, no, it's not a malicious thing at all. It's just sometimes mischievous, sometimes, just boisterous, but yeah. Well, that's good. Number 29, a little backstory. Growing up, my brother and I lived with our single mother. The house is a little 500 square foot home, but we were young, so it wasn't a huge deal. My mom remarried, and the newlyweds decided to tear down the old house and build a ranch on the land. Strange but explainable things started to happen after we moved back in. One of the strangest things to happen was when my brother and I were in the house alone. We're hanging out at an island in the kitchen talking about what teenage boys talk about when I hear the faintest whisper of someone saying my brother's name. Probably just hearing things. About 30 seconds later, a little louder, my brother's name again. He was talking when I heard the second whisper, and he seemed to hear it too because he stopped and he was saying briefly. Finally, about 15 seconds after the second interruption, clearly and angrily, a raspy voice says his name. We looked at each other and he asked, Did someone just say my name? I told him I heard it more than once, and he said 3 times, right? We grabbed our coats and went to get Burger King. Yep, got to run for the Burger King. That will definitely do it. Yeah. Sometimes you got to leave. Sometimes you got to take space. There are things that try to sound like children for sure. Living near a national forest in the Ozarks, you hear and see all kinds of things. Yeah, I'll bet, Mr. Fleshpot. Flesh rot, rather. I said flesh pot. You're flesh rot, not flesh pot. Yeah, I think there are lots of mimics, especially in the forest. There's so many stories of people hearing babies out in the woods, babies crying. And who in their right mind wouldn't want to be like, oh my God, there's a baby out there. Someone left a baby. You want to go find it. I mean, it's like, yeah, you probably have to restrain some people from not going, but it's just a mimic. It's just trying to draw people out. And that's when the nightmare starts, But how do you know? Because you do hear stories of babies being abandoned and all kinds of creepy stuff like that. It's like, ugh, how do you know? How do you know which one is the I can save a baby and which one is the I'm walking into a trap? I don't know. Here's one, number 30, and this will be the last one we'll read tonight. So I used to live in a big house, 6 bedrooms, 4 bath, basement, etc., by myself. Really? That's a lot of house. There was a hiring perk. I was there as a hiring perk, and to look after the place for my boss who lived out of state but owned the home. One of those win-win situations. The first couple of months were fine, but when winter came, I started hearing things coming from the second floor. I lived pretty much exclusively on the first floor. It started up with little bumps and bangs coming from above, and where I had my computer set up, and progressed to distinct footsteps coming and going across the second floor. I'd been up to the second floor to check on it from time to time, and I knew there were unfinished areas up there. One place always stuck out, an unfinished room that was sort of a walk-in closet for one of the upstairs bedrooms. It was attached to the garage attic, complete unlit, and it was open when I went to investigate the noises. Well, I shut the door and locked it. 2 nights later, more noises, footsteps leading from unfinished room to the bathroom, and then nothing. Worst part, the door. The door that led to the unfinished room would not stay closed or locked. I tried everything. Eventually, I pushed the bed up against the door to keep it from opening. Well, that seemed to work. A few months went by without the door open, but I would find it unlocked all the time. As time passed, I would hear noises all over the house. Mostly footsteps, but the occasional thump with no explanation. I can't explain how terrifying it is to hear little taps up and down the hall from the other side of the bathroom door during your morning shower. I eventually moved out, but another employee moved in to take my place, and his stay there only lasted about a month. The story he told me is that he was shaving one morning before work and heard a slam like someone dropped a heavy stack of books right outside his bedroom door. Then heavy footsteps like someone running down the hall. He won't stay there anymore, and no one in the company will live in the house. Yeah, definitely want to get out of there. Jeez. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for tonight. We'll certainly hit it again on Wednesday night when we get to the next one, because we're on number 31, so there's 50 of them total, so we're getting there. There's a Sasquatch Chronicles show that actually launched tonight. This is from Wes's Tonight Show, Terrifying Face-to-Face Encounter. I don't think this is one we've read, so this should be really good. But it's probably a live show right now, so it would be a great opportunity for checking out the actual interview Wes did with this person. It's a really pretty long story. It's going to take me a while to read through it for you and with you, but I think it's good. You know, it's good if Wes made a show about it. All right, so let's get to the next part of our show, which is Cryptid Corner. Nothing but refreshment. All kinds of refreshment. All right, so here we go. November 25th, tonight's show. Again, this is Sasquatch Chronicles blog. Special thanks to Wes. Let me use this to go through and grab some of your emails and stories to share with my listeners. That's really cool. Here it is. November 25th, tonight's show, Terrifying Face-to-Face Encounter. A listener writes, at a very young age, my dad would take the family on a yearly camping steelhead fishing trip to southern Washington. Mount St. Helens Eagle Cliff, not far from Apes Cave and Ape Canyon. It was the late 1960s. The Sasquatch would throw boulders from the cliff at us while we're fishing on the river. That's my first memory of this subject. I've only shared these encounters with family and a few select people. Could you imagine having a memory of seeing Sasquatch throwing boulders? I can't imagine. Wow. I will share a few of them starting from the late 1970s. My parents had divorced, and my sister and I eventually ended up living with our dad in Issaquah, Washington. I was 17, my sister 15 years old. My dad was a long-haul truck driver and was home maybe for a week once a month. So we're basically on our own most of the time. The property consisted of a small cabin with a kitchen, bathroom, living room, no bedroom, and garage. The garage had a small room on the back side of it. The small room had a wood stove inside of it, and this room I eventually converted into my bedroom. All of this will make sense later. Hang in there. I loved it there. My favorite pastime was hiking on the mountain. I knew that mountain like the back of my hand. Absolutely loved it. One day all of that will come to a terrifying end. One night, a buddy of mine and I had the stupid idea to take my dad's truck, a Dodge Power Wagon, out for a little joyride. Figured he'd never know. He's not home. He's not due to be home for a couple of days. Longer story short, we rolled that truck. Oh, God. Driving on a logging road on the next mountain over. We end up walking all the way down the mountain in the middle of the night. And as we walked, my buddy heard something walking in the woods right next to him. He suddenly stopped and says, "What the F is that?" We would start walking again, and he stops again. There it is again. At first it was on the left side, matching our steps, step by step. Then is on the right side. This thing was so fast it was doing circles around us. We couldn't figure it out. Once in a while we would just barely see it across the road, a little ways in front of us. It was creepy as hell. Then after a while another one showed up. Now they're on both sides of us, paralleling us for hours all the way down the mountain road in the dark. This was so freaky. Just scared the hell out of us all night long. It was daylight by the time we arrived to a town where we could get some help. As you could imagine, my dad was not very happy to hear about his truck. Unfortunately, it was a total loss. Wow, you're lucky you're alive, to be honest. A few weeks later, Dad comes home from being on the road. One day, he asked me to take him to show him where I go hiking. I'm excited that he wanted to spend time with me, thinking he's still pissed at me about the whole truck incident. And the way I would always go up the mountain was on the back side of the house, next to the garage about 20 feet away from my bedroom door. There was 4-strand barbed wire fence. I'd prop a stick between the middle strands and crawl through it. It was still too tall to step over. On the other side was a hedgerow of blackberries. The berries ran all the way along that side of the house and surrounded my bedroom. Straight down the middle was a grassy pathway about 10 inches wide or 10 feet wide that made it very convenient for me to access the mountain. Beyond that was nothing but wilderness. I made a comment to my dad about how the grass in this area is always laid down flat, and there's never any blackberries to pick. As soon as they were ripe, they'd all be completely gone. It was puzzling to me, and I asked him, "What do you think is happening here?" He replied, "I don't know." Well, we just shrugged it off, and I'd later find out all the answers to the questions that I had. We went ahead on our hike, and I enjoyed spending the day with my dad. We were gone for hours. He showed me how to track deer. We're having a great father-son time, hiking a game trail, and we eventually came to a creek where we had to jump over to the other side. He went first, and when he got to the other side, he stopped. With a hand signal, he stopped me and motioning to me to land my jump a little bit to one side of the road so as not to mess up any tracks that might be on the trail. It was a little sandy area that went around some trees. Without saying a word, he pointed down at the deer tracks, pressing his finger to his lips as to say, "Be quiet," with a wild look in his eyes, and he then pointed at another set of tracks that were next to the deer tracks. In the sand was a perfect human footprint. I was totally confused. My brain was trying to process exactly what I was looking at. Not able to rationalize who or why someone would be walking around in the forest with no shoes on. His footprint was a little bigger than my size 10 hiking boot at the time, and I asked him, "Is there a hermit or someone that lives up in the mountain?" He replied, "No. It's a Sasquatch track. It's tracking the same deer." I asked him, "What are you saying?" And he said it again, then said Bigfoot. At that moment, I realized what he was talking about. I turned to him and said, "You mean like the skookum that were throwing boulders off the cliff? Eagle Cliff." And he was surprised that I even remembered that. Then said, "We can either keep going or we can just go back to the cabin." That crazy SOB wanted to keep going. He could tell I was freaked out. Reality was hitting me all at once. He looked at me and asked, "What do you want to do?" I said to him, "If this is the same thing as he was trying to kill us at the cliff, then I want nothing to do with it. I'll race your ass back to the cabin." Oops, I said the word. Sorry. When he caught up, he stopped me and said, "Don't say a word to anybody about what we'd seen today. You don't want to scare your sister. And besides that, you don't want people to think you're nuts, do you?" I did exactly what he asked and never said a word. A couple more weeks go by. He's back on the road. Let me set this up for you. In the cabin, the TV is on the wall in front of the couch and a window behind the couch. If you're looking out the window, you can see the 4-strand barbed wire fence, the grassy pathway, and blackberries, as mentioned previously. There's a fireplace on the left side with a sliding glass door, and on the right side is the front door. In order to get out to my room, I would go out the sliding glass door, turn the corner, and walk past the window. Then about 20 feet is the door to my bedroom. It was a chilly night. We had a fire going in the fireplace, and we're kicking back on the couch getting ready to watch a movie, and I said, "Hey, before we start the movie, give me a few minutes so I can go to my room and start a fire in the wood stove. This way it's not too cold when I eventually go to bed." I gathered up some firewood and kindling and then headed out to my bedroom. I have my firewood and kindling tucked under my arm like a football. I go out the sliding glass door, go charging around the corner to the house, just like I have done many times before, not really paying much attention to anything. And suddenly, blam, I run right into something like hitting a brick wall. I bounce off of something and fell directly on my butt. Firewood and kindling goes everywhere. Wow. I just ran into a bear. I thought that because I felt something furry. Immediately I jumped to my feet thinking, "Oh no, is this bear going to kill me?" I looked at it again and thought, "Wait a minute. Okay, it's standing on its hind legs. Then it turns away, dropping on all fours." The lighting was pretty good on this side of the house because of the window, therefore I could get a pretty good look at this thing. Its legs are furry, the back and body had longer hair. The hair was reddish brown, and I could see the skin through the hair parted down the middle of its back. The skin was kind of lighter on its back, flaky like it had dandruff. At this point, I'm about 3 feet away. It smelled like a wet horse, and it makes a noise that sounds like a woof, kind of loud in disguise. Still not sure exactly what I'm looking at. I'm only a few feet away from this thing because it can't go anywhere. It's basically trapped between me and my bedroom. The blackberries made an impenetrable wall. Now it stands up on 2 feet and looks directly at me. I'm looking straight up at the largest man I have ever seen. I'm a carpenter. I have a pretty good idea what 8 to 10 feet looks like. This dude's every bit 9 foot tall, and probably a little more than 4 feet wide at the shoulders. Each leg was as big around as a tree. Even though its butt was big and hairy, it was proportional to its large frame. It's looking straight at me. I couldn't believe my eye. Shook my head in disbelief, rubbed my eyes thinking I was seeing something that wasn't not real. Absolutely shocking. The only thing that could come out of my mouth was, "Whoa, what the F?" He had a very surprised look on his face. First of all, his head was bigger than the steering wheel of a truck. His eyes were wide open, looking like they were going to pop out of his head. The eyeballs were like large white saucers with dark irises. Couldn't make out the brow line at this point because his eyes were open so big. The nose was very large with nostrils downward, not at all like an ape, kind of flat and spread across his face. The mouth was extremely big. At this point, it was wide open. Thin lips, big square teeth, kind of like a horse's teeth. Beard that was kind of thin, like the Fu Manchu. Thin mustache, the hair on its head was not really long, but went down and blended in with the hair on his back and shoulders. No neck, or maybe it seemed that way because his shoulders were so muscular. He was built like a bodybuilder. Not much hair on his chest, and The color on his face, hands, and chest were like a charcoal gray and a little blotchy like it had freckles. Very evidently a male. Everything about him was human, with the exception that he was covered in hair. Everything much longer, just an extra large human. There was something about his arms and legs. They were not as exactly proportional to his body. Seemed like his arms were extremely long. His hands went down past his knees, and his legs were kind of shorter at the knees, just like with any other discrimination. People have made, I think his description, just like any other description people have made. He walked a little funny. With every step I could feel the ground shake and rumble, so I know he must have weighed at least 800 or 900 pounds. He had the craziest look on his face. Then he made a perfect O shape with his mouth. Thinking about it now, his face looked just like the native masks you see with the wide open eyes and the mouth shaped like it's whistling. That vision is just burned into my mind. I'll never forget it. I kept backing up the whole time, hoping he would just move on. I wish that was the end of it all, but it would not be. With just a couple of steps, he was over that fence like it wasn't even there. Made his way over the grassy pathway. In a calming voice, I said, "It's okay. Take it easy, big guy." He made a kind of gurgling sound, sort of like a big cat purring. It's hard to explain. I was shocked, amazed, curious, and terrified. All these feelings and emotion happened all at once. Then screams just like a man. Now I started getting really scared when that happened. It triggered me to be screaming too. It matched my scream exactly, so it made my scream sound 100 times louder. When I stopped screaming, he kept on screaming. The lung capacity of this thing was so large. Terrified, I just stood there and couldn't move. Without a breath, it switched from my scream straight into an ear-piercing scream so loud that I had to put my fingers deep into my ears to keep my eardrums from exploding. I could actually feel them popping. This seemed to go on for ever an extended period of time. Still not taking a single breath, screaming transitioned right into a howl. Not just any howl. It's like a 900-pound wolf, wrapped up with a roar. And this whole time, I was standing about 10 feet away from him. He could have reached out and ripped my head off at any moment. This thing screamed, screeched, howled, and roared, straight through my soul. It shook me to my core. I could feel every organ in my body tremble, echoing through the whole valley. Kind of like when Tarzan did his yell. Oh my God, it was so difficult to stand my ground and not fall over, pooping myself. It pounded its chest like a gorilla and mumbled something like blah, 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 and then stomped off, running up the mountain, knocking over trees and just plowing through trees like a bulldozer. This entire encounter lasted maybe a little more than a minute. I'm very sure that he was not alone. I could see something moving out of my peripheral on the right side, a little further away, but couldn't take my eyes off of him. Honestly, I was completely terrified. My ears are still ringing 40 plus years later. Wow. That's an incredible moment. Could you imagine? Boom. You bump into this wall of Sasquatch. And there it is. And it's like, oh. And you're like, oh. I can't imagine. That would just be incredible. I would just can't imagine the terror. Because, again, it's hard to conceptualize 9 feet of anything. You know, I mean, we think we're big. You know, we're grown men. I'm a big grown man. But this is something that's basically would make me feel like a toddler. You know, you would feel small and tiny. And what is it going to do? You just bounce into it. How do you know? I mean, you can't know. You can't know what reaction you're going to get. You can't know if the next thing that happens is you see this fist blur as it's coming at you, or what? It's either fight or flight, and I don't think they probably think that we're that. I think they think we're probably dangerous, but they know to recognize our tools. They know what a gun looks like. There's so many stories out there that they act aggressive until they see the gun, and then they get a surprised look like, oh, this is not good. So I think they're familiar with guns. I think they're familiar with other things that we use. They watch us enough, but I just can't imagine this guy had the encounter of a lifetime, and that it ended well is very cool. That is really crazy. Wow. So I don't know what you guys think, but I think that's going to be an incredible show. I'd love to hear that guy explain this in his own words. I'm going to have to listen to that episode. Wow. You heard me read it, but, to hear, it was like that clip that Wes let me play on the show the other night. And it was that the guy's you could tell he's fighting back tears, just recalling this incident, recalling this experience. So that's so powerful. I imagine they were there checking out the blackberries, or maybe just looking in the windows like, what are they doing? How it didn't realize the guy was going to come out, or maybe he did it in like a smooth motion and shocked it. Is that what happened? You're just a little chirpy tonight, aren't you? You can just touch it, grab a hold of that antenna, see what happens. Oh. Yep. So that's a hell of a story. Very cool. Very powerful. And very long, too. That was a good 20-minute story, I think. But very cool. I think we got time for another one, but we're going to move over to a different source. We're going to go over to Phantoms and Monsters. I got to see which one we're going to read. This one's kind of interesting. Again, whenever the Men in Black come up, it's one of those weird things that you don't really know what to do with. Generally speaking, the Men in Black encounters correlate to UFO experiences. They just seem to almost go hand in hand for a long time. You don't hear a lot about Men in Black anymore, whereas, it was kind of all the rage back in the 50s and 60s and stuff. But then Men in Black stories just kind of drifted away. But this next one is kind of interesting. It's from Phantoms and Monsters, which is Lon Strickler's site, and Lon's published a bunch of books about these topics that we cover. He's also got a podcast, Phantoms and Monsters Radio, but phantomsandmonsters.com is an amazing site full of encounter stories, just tons of them in there, along with research efforts and so much more. So definitely plug into Lon and his world, because you're going to walk away learning a lot. But this story that I'm going to read you is from November 25th, which is that today? It is today. It's from today. It's today old. I knew he just posted this on the Paranormal Portal fans page on YouTube, or Facebook rather. But this is a good one, I think. I haven't pre-read it, so I'm going to find out now as I'm talking to you if it's a good one. But I love the stories Lon covers on Phantoms and Monsters. But this is, again, phantomsandmonsters.com. Pulse of the Paranormal, folks. Cryptid canine incident results in questions and warning by the Men in Black. Again, I was surprised to see the Men in Black thing come up. Now, this may be an old story. Sometimes people come forward with stories they've had for decades. They've held on to these stories, and it's like, oh, I just found your site. I want to tell you about what I experienced. I've talked to many witnesses who basically they never told anybody, and they're talking about how good it feels to finally put that down, like they're putting down a heavy object. Like these experiences are like bricks So there are hundreds of megabyte stories. I've been getting into the recent sightings. They're on the rise. Sorry, I'm trying to control some hiccups that are kind of trying to start. But I think I'm winning. There we go. So this is the one we're going to read. Cryptid canine incident results in questions and warning from the Men in Black. So again, Men in Black. Wow. A group of friends in Denton, Missouri encounter a canine like biped that chases their vehicle. After contacting park rangers, they were questioned by several supposed Men in Blacks who are told to stay quiet. Again, I don't know. What are these Men in Black? I mean, we'll have to do I tried to do a show back when I used to do theme shows. I did a show on the Men in Black. And I can tell you I had some weird stuff happening. I actually got knocked off of the network when I did the Men in Black show. I got knocked off the network. I couldn't reconnect for about 15 minutes. When I finally could reconnect to the network, there was a weird feedback loop going on where my voice and Don and I were talking, but it was this echoey loop. And everything, it just kept echoing into infinity. And everything else we would say would get added to this echo loop. And it was the strangest freaking experience. And I don't know what the hell happened. It was just strange. Yeah. Lucky Gypsy says, yeah. But whatever happened, now I don't know if it was because we're talking about the Men in Black, but it just was a weird correlation. Weird correlation for sure. I realized my chat hadn't scrolled. Lots of vitamin C and D. Amen, Chucky. Vitamin C and D. Hi, Maggie. Good to see you. All right, let's... what's going on? Who's sick? What's going on? I'm getting over COVID, too. Whooped my peach. It just whooped Maggie's peach. I'm sorry you got sick. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you feel better soon. Yeah, vitamin D is a big thing with getting over COVID, for sure. I even had a doctor tell me that, like, yep, ramp up your vitamin D intake to like, and I was telling her, she asked, how much are you taking? And I said, well, I take about, at the time I was taking about 5,000 IU each day. And they're like, yep, that's a good number. I read studies suggest that really helps to minimize the depth of the COVID. So definitely pump the hell out of, I almost cussed, pump the hell out of the vitamin D. Anyway, so let's read about this story. In 2008, a group of boys cleaning up a cemetery in Denton Township, Missouri, encountered some type of creature that attacked them. Denton is in Mark Twain State Park. Josh, the primary witness, 16, was a Boy Scout who was hanging out, hoping to get his Eagle badge. To accomplish this, he had to do a public project, and he opted to clean up the Sam Crocker Cemetery in Goodwater, Missouri. 3 of his friends tagged along and agreed to help, and Josh's brother and his friend also tagged along so they could be dropped off at a local creek to fish. Well, they all hopped into Josh's Grand Cherokee and left. They arrived at Sam Crocker at around 11:45 after dropping off the brother and his friend at the fishing hole. Well, they got to work at around 1:30 p.m. 2 park rangers showed up and checked on them, and they told them they would be in the area, and later one of the friends mending the cemetery fence noticed something off in a clearing. We thought it was a bear, so he told Josh that the bear was heading towards the creek. So they agreed to get the brother and his friend. The brother and his friend agreed to come back with them. They returned to the cemetery and ate their lunch. One of the friends walking over to retrieve his water bottle smelled a terrible odor. He likened it to rotten eggs mixed with a strong stench of animal feces and urine. Josh also smelled it and decided to go back to go look for what it might be, and he went right down the road, assuming it was a dead animal. And that's when Josh spotted a silhouette of the woodline pacing back and forth. We thought it was a bear, and as Josh began making his way back, trying not to run, he yelled for his friends to get back in the car. And that's when Josh realized that it was a bipedal and not a bear. The creature seemingly realized that it had been spotted, dropped on all fours, and began running through the cemetery. They all got into the vehicle and sped away. The brother in the back of the vehicle could see the creature chasing them. Looking in the rear view, Josh claimed that it looked like an all-black German Shepherd about the size of a small pony and stoplight red eyes. At some point, the creature jumped onto the hood of the Jeep. He slammed on the brakes and the creature fell off, and it stood up in front of the Jeep and stared at them. Josh thought it stood about 6 feet and weighed about 200 pounds and had jet black brown hair covering its entire body. Josh could not understand how the eyes were so red. After a few minutes, the creature dropped back down onto all fours, and it seemed to grab onto the back bumper, and the boys made it to the highway where they saw the Rangers. And Josh attempted to alert them, honking and shining his lights. The creature jumped off at that point, and they drove for another 10 minutes before turning around. When they went back, they saw 2 Rangers standing over something in the road, and one of the Rangers walked up to Josh's vehicle and told them that they just had to put an animal down and they got out and to get out of there, and that their bosses were on the way. Josh agreed. As he drove, he passed 3 Rangers' trucks moving very fast and a trooper. The trooper turned around and pulled Josh over. He took their names and then indicated that a dog had just been put down. Josh was just happy to get out of there. 6 or 7 days go by and Josh gets a call from the scoutmaster who tells him that he knows about the incident at the cemetery. He asked him to come by his house so they could talk about his Eagle Scout badge, and Josh agreed. When he arrived at the scoutmaster's home, he saw a park ranger vehicle and a black Suburban parked out front. He went inside and observed the scoutmaster, a park ranger, and 3 figures dressed in black suits. 2 were males and 1 was a female. The female was wearing a black pantsuit. The male in the suit was short. One male in the suit was short and wore glasses, while the other one stood about 6'1" or 6'2" and was much more imposing. The first thing the ranger asked was if the creature in the park had at all damaged or scratched his vehicle. Josh indicated that it didn't, and with that, the female got up with the clipboard and walked outside. At some point, the scoutmaster passed Josh an envelope, and inside was his Eagle Scout badge and the paperwork. Josh had not completed the required hours to earn the Scout badge, and yet it was giving it to him. The taller man said, "We're giving you this today because we know that you are trustworthy and you cannot tell anyone what occurred that day in the cemetery. You have to let your friends know exactly what happened, that you guys saw a bear and you guys got spooked and left. Tell your friends the same thing we're telling you. Otherwise, we will come back. We will come instead of having you come here. We will come to your home." He then named every person in the vehicle, seemingly threatening them too. Shortly after this meeting, the scoutmaster and his wife moved away from the area. Josh attempted to locate him on the social media, but was never able to track him down. Yikes. That's a creepy story. I don't know. Why? What are the men in black anyway? I mean, sometimes they sound like these extraterrestrial or some other type of creature. Sometimes they sound like, I don't know, FBI, the old G-man kind of thing. Sometimes they sound like, I don't know, like something else. I don't know. They're almost supernatural sometimes. So what are they? I don't know. But why would they care about a dogman sighting? That seems peculiar to me. Maybe the men in black are just the disinformation corps or something. Corps as in CORPS, not CORE. I don't know. Why would they care? That is a curious take. And one that I'm sure I'm not qualified to speak to, but it is funny. So, I don't know. I hope you guys enjoyed that story. Let me close it so I don't reread it on another episode. Because we are now ending or nearing the end of our journey tonight. Didn't hear from audio. Sorry if you tried to call in audio. I didn't see the phone light up, so I apologize if I missed that. But just hope your journey is going good. Karen Alberding, thank you always. Always, Brent. Well, thank you very much. Maybe there was evidence. Yeah, maybe. Good show, brother. Thank you, Chucky. Thanks for your help so much on the questions of the week. You're making my job so much more bearable by doing that. There's just so many directions I have to go, and I just can't do them all. So it's really cool that you guys step up and want to help out. Thanks, Brent. Great show. Good night, everyone, says Wizard Moon. Well, good night to you, and good night to all the new people that stopped in. Hope you guys like the show and you want to make this part of your journey every week. We do live shows here on YouTube and Twitch every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. 2-hour shows, so we'd love to have you stick around and come back for those when they happen. And to the channel members, thank you so much, guys. You guys are amazing, and you've really helped to lift it. Tommy Cooper, good to see you, brother. That's awesome. Haven't seen you for a while, man. Hope things been good. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Great to see you. But that's going to wrap up our journey. Tommy Cooper, of course, is part of Cryptovania. And always good to see you. Good to see you stop in. So that's about all we got time for tonight. And be back on Wednesday. Watch for the new podcast episode that'll be dropping tomorrow night. Actually, it's available on Monday. I load them up at about midnight on Sunday night, so it'll be available on Monday morning. So I made number 1. I did? What did I do now? Or are you talking about that on TuneIn? Yeah, we made number 1. Woo! Hey, let's... Thank you. Thank you. That's cool. Hope to see you guys next time. Yeah, absolutely, Roger. We'll be here. I'll turn on the lights, and hopefully you all will make it back. Mr. Fleshrot, thanks for coming in. It's nice to meet you. Get a hold of me on paranormalportal.net and click the interview me if you want to tell me about a bunch of your experiences. Love to have you as a guest on the podcast, and we can hear your experiences. That'd be wonderful. So anyway, Brent, shots on me. RJ's buying shots. There you go. Don't be a lurker. Well, lurkers are okay too. Lurkers are fine. I mean, not everybody wants to type. Not everybody can type. But some people just want to kick back and listen. That's cool too. But whatever. I'm really glad. Thank you all for the love and support. Thank you for being a part of my journey and a part of making this a growing experience. YouTube and Twitch are certainly our smallest ventures so far. Even though I've been at them longer than the podcast is doing fantastically, but hopefully we'll keep bringing people in and they'll find this too, because they're two very different shows. So.
Censorship and regulation is becoming an ever-growing problem in today's modern media. From the mainstream to YouTube and Google,
let me just do this quick.
The information you're looking for is buried by official...
Okay, so I guess that is going to wrap it up, though, because that's the bell. There's no bumpers, so I can't ever hear the music to cue me in on it when I start yapping my lips. But Roger's a lurker, too. But that's it, man. That's all I got time for. And hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Have a wonderful Sunday. And we'll see you next week for some more episodes. So until then, love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can. And I'm just going to roll the credits. So until next time.